This is Dr. Farina King, and I'm a part of the NSU Community Health and Wellbeing Collective. And it is April 21st, 2021. And today we have a couple guests, Krysanne Barnett, who is, here we have it, Student Services Coordinator, and Jasmine Lang, who is Assistant Director of Student Engagement. And Krysanne is based on the Muskogee campus of NSU, and Jasmine is based in Broken Arrow. So I think it's great as well to visit with folks from our different campuses. I'm based on the Tahlequah campus. So, to remind us all, we do have our different campuses. We're all a part of the same institution, Northeastern State University, but we are spread out, and our students and community is interconnected with all these different places where we're based and the work that we do. Today, without much further ado, I want to ask Krysanne first, could you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about what you do? And then I'll ask Jasmine the same, of just give us a brief introduction about the work you do at NSU.
Sure. So my name is Krysanne. Like Farina already said, I'm the Student Services Coordinator here in Muskogee, and we're a very small branch campus. We have a handful of programs, so I wear lots of different hats, which can be fun. There's something new every day, but mostly I do all the student events, any kind of activities that we have for students on our campus. I do those, and then I try to plug students in with all of the different resources that are available across all three campuses. So that's mostly what I do every day.
Awesome. How about you, Jasmine?
So yes, again, I am the Assistant Director of Student Engagement on the Broken Arrow campus. I wear a lot of different hats as well. So me and Krysanne are in the same boat. My area in Broken Arrow really works with student organizations, work with community and civic engagement, work with our Rowdy's Resource Room, which is a food pantry, a thrift store, and also has toiletry items in it. But then also I do all the events on campus in Broken Arrow as well. But I just really serve a lot of different students from a lot of different backgrounds, and excited to be able to help and plug in where I can.
Thank you. And these have been such important resources during the COVID-19 pandemic. It already is so stressful, an academic life and all the kind of work dynamics of academia, the pressures of the kind of work that especially students face, and that your work is student-centered. Can you talk to me a little more? We could start with Krysanne again, of what kind of initiatives have you been involved in, specifically relating to addressing, concerns of health and wellness during the pandemic, as that's such a major concern for students at this time?
So a couple of the things that we've done, our students have been on campus, just the nature of our programs, they didn't really have the opportunity. A couple did, but the majority of our students were on campus throughout the whole thing. And so a lot of what we did was just making them feel safe and like they had a place to come where they weren't going to be at risk or exposed. And then to try to cater some events that allowed them to still participate in things without having extra exposure. We just finished a walking challenge where everybody could, get outside and go walk around campus, and you're not, enjoy the sunshine and the spring weather. And so it's just been mostly doing things like that.
Awesome. Jasmine, what about at Broken Arrow or the different initiatives you're tied to?
So yeah, with a lot of the student events that I've hosted on campus, we've tried to be more inclusive of our online students as well. And then students who are now don't really want to come to campus as much, we've tried to incorporate an online version of our events, but then also offer in-person and virtual for our events so that students are still able to participate from home. Some of the biggest things that I've been pushing recently is our Rowdy's Resource Room, just building awareness about it, letting students know that it's not just for students, but it's for faculty and staff, and it's a free resource for them. We've really done really great efforts this past year with really building up the food pantry here on our Broken Arrow campus. I'm trying to mirror what Tahlequah offers. Tahlequah has done a great job of establishing the food pantry there. And so I've tried to really mirror that, bring in new things, because it was just a food pantry only, but now we've added clothing items, and some of that's for children as well. We have shoes in there as well. Then we have kitchen products, so students can come in and take these things and be able to cook from home if they needed to. We really enhanced the food options that we offer for students. We've connected with the Oklahoma Food Bank as well, became a campus pantry so that we can offer more food in there. But and then we also have like toiletries, like tissue items, feminine products. We've tried to just really build that awareness up. We've put out different banners throughout the campus. We've been hosting Rowdy's Resource Room pop-up shop. So I've been taking Rowdy's Resource Room to the different academic buildings on campus just to build awareness about it, show them a little bit what we have to offer and give some giveaways to make it more fun. But we want students to know that we're there to support them. If our hours don't work for them, we've been able to kind of set schedules, be able to come up during that wasn't office hours, to be able to make sure we're helping students have the food and the resources they need while they're not on campus or just during the pandemic in general. So we've really tried to extend those services for our students so that they feel supported and know that there's a place they can come to for whatever their need might be.
That's wonderful. And my next question is exactly that point of how do students know about these great activities, these resources? What kind of efforts are there to get the word out to them? And also make them feel comfortable about it, right? Of sometimes with so much pulling and tugging on them, a lot of responsibilities that students have with jobs, their families, their studies. How do students also know that these resources are a benefit for them, or these opportunities like the walking event? How do you encourage them to access these resources or to know about these different kind of activities and events that are catered for them and their wellness, their well-being? Krysanne, do you want to start off?
Sure. So one of the main ways that I go about that, my position is fairly new on this campus, only about 6 months-ish maybe, and we are very small. And so I try to build a relationship with the students because it's easier in person, which I'm fortunate to get to do, to tell them about everything. And so I've also tried building up our social media accounts. All of the kids like social media, and that's the way they communicate. So creating social media pages where we can share about all of the different resources and the events that we're having. And but mostly just building relationships with the students when I pass them in the hallway and, inviting them to things and telling them about all of the different resources that we have at NSU.
Awesome. Can you tell us what are the social media accounts? What is the name of them? Which ones, for example?
So the Facebook page, I should have had that out and open. I believe that it is NSU Muskogee. And then the Instagram page is actually NSUM Student Services. So NSU Muskogee Student Services. And I mostly post on Instagram. I found that seems to be more popular with our students. So.
Okay, so to just remind people, it's basically NSU and then the M to represent Muskogee and Student Services.
Student Services, yes, ma'am.
No, and then how do they contact you? How do students, how are they able to get in touch with you, Krysanne?
I put my email in my office on everything that I send out, every flyer I make, everything that is everywhere, all over our campus. I always put my name and my office number and my email at the bottom, which I'm in office 103 in the administration building. And my email is Barnett with 1T49 at nsuok.edu. And so I encourage them to either come by my office, they can come to the front administration office, or they can send me an email.
Awesome. What are your hours?
I am here 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Okay, thank you. And Jasmine, how do you make sure the students know about these resources and can connect with you? and the student services for them?
Yes. So I have multiple ways that I put out information. One, especially with all incoming new transfer students on our campus, we have an orientation. And so during that process, not only do I invite a lot of different student services that are on our campus, but also talk about these events and the things that I do throughout the year that they would want to be a part of. Also, I send out emails. I send out one email a week. It's always on a Monday, and it's called BA Student Engagement Upcoming Events for All. And so I always put for all because I want staff and faculty to know that they're more than welcome to come to the events as well on our campus as students. And I send it out through our engagement email. So it's engagement@nsuok.edu. And I send it out to all Broken Arrow students, staff, and faculty. And it's just once a week on Monday. It tells you everything that's going on and coming up that week, and then maybe further out. And I do that every Monday. Also do put out our events and advertise on social media. We do have a Facebook, Instagram, and a Twitter account. And that's NSU BA engagement on all of those. You can reach me via email or by phone. My phone number is 918-449-6137. My personal email is wright.06@nsuok.edu. Or you can reply back to those emails, the engagement@nsuok.edu. And those get forwarded to me, and I respond if it's something pertaining to my event or anything I'm hosting on the Broken Arrow campus. I also put out flyers and posters. We do have bulletin boards in every single building, and there's multiple in every single building. So there's flyers on every floor in every building. And I am located in the Administration Services building on the second floor in the Student Affairs Suite, in Suite 211. Rowdy's Resource Room is located on the first floor of that building in Suite 130. But yeah, that's how I put things out. And then sometimes I put out little info cards, or like push cards is what we like to call them, around campus, just like on the tables and stuff.
Great. And what are your hours as well for contacting you? And I believe from our previous communications, how does that also relate with the Rowdy Resource Room of how students, faculty, and staff can access the Rowdy Resource Room, in terms of hours? And I think you're the one who primarily opens the resource room, correct?
So I work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, just like Krysanne. And Rowdy's Resource Room is open those same hours as well. I do send out in my monthly or my weekly email, I put for Rowdy's Resource Room that if those hours don't work for you, then just email me and we can set up a scheduled time for you to come up and pick up any items that you're needing.
Okay, wonderful. My last set of questions is, first, since we've talked a lot about the resources for students, but there's also been references to faculty and staff, what would you say to faculty and staff about how they can support, the kind of efforts and initiatives that you all are involved in with student services, engagement, all these different areas, and why it's important, why faculty and staff should pay attention to that as well? Krysanne, we'll come back to you.
I just try to encourage all of our faculty and staff to encourage their students. They see them more often than I do. And so I just try to encourage them, tell them about why the things that we've planned are important, and get them to encourage their students to come and attend as many events and things as possible. So that's mainly what I would say to our faculty and staff. They're always welcome as well, just like Jasmine. We try to cater things where students and faculty can engage more together.
Great. And Jasmine, what would you say to our faculty and staff?
I would say I include you on the emails for a reason. Really want you guys to promote our events to the students as well. Like Krysanne said, you all are with those students more than we are. You see them more in the classroom, whether that's virtual or in person. So you have more of a connection. And so I include you on that so that you could be our promoters as well and support us in what we're trying to do, because our events are only successful if they're supported by faculty, staff, and students. And so we would love to see your smiling faces. I know students would love to see you guys come out of those classrooms and visit with them in a different type of environment. But just push those events too, because students who make a connection on campus are more likely to be more successful. And so that's why we're here. And that's what we want for our students, is for them to be successful, for them to make connections, for them to network, and ultimately just have a great experience at NSU. And so if they can support us in that way and push them our way, we would love that. We love having big numbers at our events. And that's why we're here. So we just appreciate them too. But thanks.
Thank you. I want to wrap up with this thought, is I wanted to ask you both what kind of insights, maybe in a nutshell, what kind of advice you share with students, or when you have that moment with students of encouraging them, especially during this pandemic that has been really challenging and hard and has affected these events, even how they happen, the sense of isolation that can happen with it, or it's different, because it's all virtual instead of those interpersonal moments, or having to deal with a lot of virtual communication, telecommunications, that is not necessarily the same thing as what we were used to before the pandemic, or what people were used to then, of what kind of insights you have for them. And then as a part of that, I was wondering, how you go about planning your events, not so much that you have to describe, the full process of that, but are there ways that students, faculty, and staff can also share ideas with you of possible events and such? That's what I was interested in as well. The kind of networking and communications too. So either of you want to take a step on responding to those questions as we wrap up here? I guess we'll go to Krysanne, because we go back and forth here. Thanks.
So since this is a new position for our campus, I communicate a lot with the program directors that we have, as well as interacting with students at the events. I'm at every event that I plan, since I'm the one here. And so I encourage them to tell me what's important to you, what makes you feel welcome, what kind of events would you want to have. And I try to get the faculty to also let me know, what kind of events would be purposeful and beneficial for your students. And then when I'm trying to plan things, the pandemic has definitely thrown a wrench into a lot of things. So I try to think about ways that I can include people who don't really want to be right inside someone, just making sure that everybody feels included. And so things where you can socially distance, or things where we can be outside, where, there's just less exposure to everything. So that's the main thing that I try to consider when I'm planning an event is everybody going to be able to participate in whatever ways that they're comfortable. So that way everyone feels included.
Thank you. Jasmine, do you have insights about that?
I definitely echo what Krysanne said. Trying to make sure everyone feels comfortable, but also included as well. I do like to invite faculty and staff out. Sometimes I'll send an email out, do they want to help participate in an event, whether that's, man a table for an hour or something like that, but just so that they get an opportunity to engage with students on a different level. But then it also helps me, because I am a team of one in Broken Arrow. So it's come out if you want to help. I'll have this table set out for this many hours, especially during welcome week. It's a great time to get them out of their office, meet new students. And so I do offer opportunities like that for them to get involved. I'm always an open door. I love new ideas. The way I kind of plan some of my events is I try to get student input on those events as well, because these are events for students, and our student demographics are a little different than the traditional students on the Tahlequah campus. And so we do have an older population, but it's about an average age of 26 now. It's starting to drop due to TCC students transferring over to our campus. But I still like to get student input, since it is something that they're wanting to do. So I'm always open to try new things. I'm never afraid to make a mistake or a failed event. But as long as we tried and we said we did it, and we can learn and and move. But you can always email me and ask questions, but I do like to incorporate them too. And in events like Welcome Week, Stress Free Week that we offer. I do want to plug that. We do have Stress Free Week coming up next week. And so those are opportunities for students to de-stress before finals. And we have a lot of different things that we're doing with massages, therapy dogs, having an end of the year bash, just some fun and relaxing opportunities to kind of take a break from studying. So, but yeah, that's how I kind of incorporate them.
Thank you for mentioning that, because I did want to ask, were there any major shout outs, plugs that you want to use as we for next week with upcoming events that we can help spread the word about? And that's wonderful. You know, a stress, what was it called? Stress
free. We do the same. I've echoed a lot of the things that Jasmine has done because they're so great. And so we do Stress Free Week on Muskogee as well.
Oh, wonderful. And that's exactly what we're talking about here, right? Is how do we help people to navigate stress, anxiety, to have that wellness of mind, well-being. And so that sounds perfect. That's great. And folks can learn about it on your social media. Does Broken Arrow have those kind of accounts too? Right, Jasmine?
Yes, we do. I actually plugged those earlier where I said it was NSU BA engagement on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Okay, wonderful. So another reminder, don't forget those are updated regularly, I assume, with all these kind of events and announcements. And then the emails coming out every week. I know people feel overwhelmed by emails, but it's worth it, to have these events of connection and cater to students. It's wonderful. And I do want to say and acknowledge Krysanne and Jasmine, all folks who are such wonderful student advocates, and it's recognized. Our students see what you're doing. It makes a difference. And faculty and staff, we really appreciate you. The NSU community does. So thank you. Thank you for being, in a sense, this is frontline work too, being out there on call and support to students and folks who we're all in this together, as they say. And I really appreciate you taking the time to tell us more about the great works you're doing and the great happenings on campus that we want folks to be aware of. These are here for them and to really benefit from it. It is here for us, right? To strengthen our community health and well-being. Thank you so much. We'll wrap up from there and hope you all take care.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. King.
Thank you.
Bye.